You know, it's unfortunate we no longer teach history. We have no regard for narrative and heritage as part of the construction of our country, of nation building. Because a central part of that really is recasting, appropriating the constructive sides of our interethnic relations in nation building. And you know, in the aftermath of the war, we were saved as a people by sports, by the accomplishments in the field of sports of the Enugu Rangers. And as a matter of fact, the transformation of the country in many ways of a post-war narrative happened from the competition, the inter-community competition that was orchestrated in the field of sports across the country between different teams. You know, Mighty Jets in Jos were the team to beat before the war. After the war, the team to beat became Rangers and then IICC Shooting Stars in Ibadan. And in that competition, interethnic harmony actually was forged, quite interestingly, because people began to respect others whom they had. Well, first of all, we grew to mutually respect one another, suspicions dissipated, and the national team was built on the back of two football clubs, Rangers and IICC. The captain was the captain of the most successful Green Eagles team, Super Eagles now, was Igbo. His vice was Yoruba. The goalkeeper, there were two goalkeepers. Emmanuel Okala was Igbo. Besto Gedengbe came from Edo State, but grew up in Yoruba land. Yes? Now, in the midfield, we had two maestros who were Aloya Tebu, who was Igbo, Mudalawal, who was Yoruba. And you could go on. On the left side of the midfield, you had two people, Adokia Masabaka, who came from the east, and Felix Owolabi, who came from the west. Later, they were joined by Babotu Mohammed, who came from the north. Right? On the right side, everywhere you looked, you had a mix of people, of a core of people who represented the diversity of the country, but who were willing to work together towards a common goal. And in the aftermath of the war, because the war left the Igbos quite substantially broken, but the Rangers gave us the sense we could win again. And they did something on the field of play that we could not accomplish in war, which was get Nigeria to begin to look at the Igbo a little more seriously. And you know, no, people don't remember this, but in the 1979 elections, all the 5 major parties had an Igbo on the presidential ticket. NPN, NPP, UPN, Great Nigerian People's Party, and Nigeria Advanced Party, and PRP. They all had an Igbo person in the ticket. Now, and of course in 1980, you then had those iconic figures coming out of Christian Chukwu presenting the African Cup of Nations, or receiving the African Cup of Nations from President Shehu Shagari, and leading the procession of the team to get the medals. Now, all of that happened within 10 years of the end of the Civil War. Nigeria, so the Igbos could identify with Nigeria and indeed lead Nigeria to glory. And so, and the country warmed up to the people who were said to have lost the war. How did we travel from there to where we are now? Where the country is riven with all of these, partly of course driven by digital narratives and, you know, micro-blogging sites. But the country is now riven with narratives of interethnic hate that appear entirely implacable. The politicians, rather than seek to alleviate that, to lead people away from that, are trying to profit from that and drive a massive wedge between people, particularly the younger ones.